Welcome to Dad Doesn't Have Time for This, the show where I review things quickly because I don't have time to write scripts or think things through. So, today I'm going to be reviewing Yumi and the Nightmare Printer. This is the first book that I've reviewed on this channel, so go me. It's part of the year of Sanderson that wrapped up last year, and I've read 3 of the 4 books so far, and I just finished this one. And what makes me want to review this one first is because this is probably the Brandon Sanderson book that I had the strongest emotional response to by the time it ended. Yeah, I tend to be a fairly flatline emotionally, as you can probably tell from these reviews. Well, I do have emotions. They're not always the strongest things in the world. But this book actually managed to have a fairly strong emotional reaction at the end. And that goes a long way for me, because when you don't have strong emotional reactions to media very often, like I would my children, which I have emotional reactions to all the time because they're my children, but for media, strong emotional reactions are not common, despite the fact that I consume a lot of media because I enjoy it. So this book is the story of 2 characters who become intertwined in a very sort of your name sort of way, and how they deal with that intertwining and come to understand the nature of their reality in the world they live in, and learn to just overcome. Like, one thing I really like about Brandon Sanderson is his the latter half of his work, he's really started to focus on just people dealing with being people and how they deal with their emotions and their struggles, learning the nature of the world you live in versus what you thought it was can sometimes be a rather disheartening thing to go through. But if you've got people there to support you, like Yumi and Painter have each other, you can really get through those challenges and emerge stronger and better off because of it. And I'm really glad I read this book. My book list is not nearly as thorough as my other lists, and I'm going to go as far as to say that this is probably my favorite Brandon Sanderson book. It is not anywhere near the one I'd recommend most people start reading if they're going to start reading the Cosmere, but I think for me personally, given the emotional impact it had, the only book that I think had close to an emotional impact of this level was the end of the last Mistborn Era 2 book. But even that book, while the ending was very strong, it didn't have the same emotional currents through the entire book. Well, it was really good, but so I think I'm going to actually say that this is my favorite Brandon Sanderson book, which is not what I was expecting, especially when I was halfway through. I'm like, this is good, but we'll see where it's going. And in the end, with how these characters deal with their own personal mistakes and traumas and their relationship and how it ends, it really got to me. So I'm going to say this is the 25th best book of all time. That is highly subject to change because my book list needs to be flushed out substantially. So as a result, I'm going to put it at 25 and deal with the consequences of that later. Thank you for listening, and you have a wonderful day. Oh yeah, before I forget, the art in this book is wonderful. Let's see if I can find an example. Yeah. That's a terrible example. That's a better example. That's the same thing. Come on, where's a picture? Ah. There's a good one. It's got a very watercolor Asian style to it. There's several large scale format pictures in here, full color. I have to say, Brandon Sanderson, his premium books are expensive, but they're very well done. I have a few of the Leatherbounds and the Year of Sanderson, and they are all excellent. So, good book, good times. I'm a sucker for good art. Have a wonderful day.